Good morning, everyone. Ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba. Welcome back to Campaign's Saudi briefing event on talent and technology. I'm Nadeem Qureshi, the publisher at Campaign Middle East. Thank you all for attending our event today and making all our briefing events super successful like this one. Before we get on with today's event, I want to brief everyone on the latest developments at Campaign Middle East and all our partners. This is our first of the 2 Saudi events we are planning this year, with our next Saudi campaign briefing event planned in October. On your tables, you will find the Campaign Saudi report, which we have published this month. This special Saudi supplement, which we publish every year, offers a guide to the media, marketing, and advertising scene in the kingdom. We have tried to list all the Saudi agencies. We have given local expert pieces and insights, best recent work created for Saudi clients, and of course, data and research for those planning media campaigns and marketing strategies. If we have missed out on any content that you feel we should have covered, please let us know so that we can incorporate this in our content next year. Still on Saudi, we have just announced the dates of Athar Festival. The Athar Festival is Saudi's meeting place for the creative marketing community and where Saudi creativity belongs. The festival takes place during 5th and 6th of November 2024 in Riyadh, bringing together more than 1,500 decision makers from agencies, brands, platforms, government, and young talent from the kingdom and around the world across 2 days, hosting 2 stages of content from senior global and regional speakers. Let's take a quick look at the highlights from the first inaugural edition of Athar last year in 2023.
Welcome to this, the inaugural day of the inaugural Athar Festival of Creativity, specifically for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
I have to say, as you rightly put it, we were a panel of the agency group leaders in the region, and that tells you about the importance of this festival. We're all here at a very senior level, but also you have the young generation and this interaction between the 2 audiences.
It is the first time to happen, so we're happy that it happened in Saudi. We're happy that, finally in Saudi we have our own festival of creativity.
I always find that coming here enriches my visions about the world and allows me to connect with a bubbling and energizing and exciting local creative community, whether that's marketeers or advertising agencies. And today was no different.
There was a high level of engagement. I was looking at the crowd, lots of, I was humbled by seeing lots of senior experts and CEOs and professionals. I think it's a lot more condensed in terms of the quality of the attendance.
Well, first of all, the vibe, the energy, the mix, the diversity, which always adds to creativity and builds on it. I'm very happy. I'm very excited. And in fact, I look forward next year as well.
Next year, we will actually have a live competition. So we will be judging the work of 2024 and rewarding that work at Athar next year.
سعيد جدا بالحصول على هذه الجائزة لتعني لي شيء الكثير حقيقة. اليوم تقدير يقدر بأثر بتاكس من كل المسؤولين عن الجائزة.
نستمر بقوة وعزيمة وإصرار نبقى أكبر قصة نجاح في القرن ال21، وهذه كلمات مؤثرة جاية من مين؟ من المؤثر الأول، من الممكن الأول، ومن الملهم الأول، صاحب السمو الملك الأمير محمد بن سلمان بن عبد العزيز ولي العهد ورئيس مجلس حفظه الله.
This year, Athar 2024 will host the Athar Awards, the kingdom's first and only accolade to celebrate campaigns, agencies, brands, and individuals that contribute to the pillar of the Vision 2030 through creative marketing. With entries now open, you can explore the 24 categories, eligibility criteria, and how to enter at atharfestival.com. If you need more information, you can scan the Athar tabletops on your desk or contact Ghassan, there he is, or myself for more details. Coming back to our campaign event, we would like to thank all the partners for supporting us for today's event. Our gold sponsors are Bupin, TikTok, Zapads, and MCN Group, including FP7 McCann and UM. You will hear more from them as the day progresses. And our associate sponsor is Mina Tech, and they have some amazing prizes to give away today. There will be 3 winners selected at the end of the day today. And the first prize is a Poco F6 smartphone along with an exclusive interview on Mina Tech, which is the Middle East's leading Arabic technology and business media portal. The second prize is a premium gaming headphone and gaming keyboard. And the third prize is a high-end gaming keyboard. All you need to do is scan the QR codes on the papers that you see from Mina Tech on your tables, follow the instructions, and that's it. The winner will be announced at the end of the event. Still on campaign, we are planning to host the 3rd edition of Campaign Middle East Agency of the Year Awards in December in Dubai. As you're aware, the Agency of the Year Awards from Campaign focuses on the agency business success, that is year-on-year growth, financial achievements, agency culture, diversity, and the people and teams driving this forward. Here's a short video on the success we had last year. We have just opened the entries yesterday for the Agency of the Year Awards, and with the early bird deadline of 1st of August. And for more information, you can reach out to me or Tarun from my team, there he is, for all event sponsorships and partnerships with Campaign. We have all these opportunities and a lot more details on our website, social media platforms, our weekly newsletter. So please don't forget to subscribe and follow us in order to get our latest news and updates. Please also make sure you contribute regularly to Campaign. Keep sending those opinion and thought leadership topics to us along with your latest news, work, and appointments. We also have an online jobs portal for the latest job opportunities and career advices from the industry experts. Please also send us your valuable feedback on today's event by scanning the QR codes on the agenda papers in front of you so that we can work with our partners for much stronger and relevant content. Right, that's it from me. I will hand over the stage to Campaign's editor, Justin Harper now, who will take today's event forward. Thank you everyone once again for attending and looking forward to seeing you all at our second Saudi event in October. And as Justin walks up slowly on the stage, here's a short video from Campaign Middle East publisher, Motivate Media Group, which is celebrating our 45th anniversary this year.
It's 1979.
And your host today, Ian Fairservice. Thank you very much indeed. Okay.
This is when the UAE witnessed the birth of a new communication dynasty with the launch of What's On, the Gulf's first English magazine. And with it, the first stone of what was to become the Motivate Media Group was laid.
Welcome to Motivate Publishing.
In the 45-year journey between then and now, Motivate has never wavered from its own path of evolution and innovation. From print to digital, from local to global, from events to festivals, from cinema advertising to influencer agencies, from book publishing to podcasts. In-flight magazines, joint ventures, content creation, surface aerials, corporate partnerships, talent representation, and celebrity collaborations. We've been in good company along the way. We've stood on stage and celebrated the best of the region at our grandstand, industry-defining award ceremonies. We've grown our family, expanded our reach, and to you, our combined audience of millions, we say thank you for being part of the story. Our mission is, and always has been, to inspire, to create conversation, challenge convention, to communicate, innovate, and motivate, always striding forward, always in reverence of the past. But what does the future hold? We can't wait to show you, and we'll be there every step of the way, ready to keep you motivated for whatever is on the horizon.
Please welcome to the stage, editor of Campaign Middle East, Mr. Justin Harper.
Thank you, and welcome everyone to the Campaign Saudi Briefing 2024, Talent and Technology. As Nadeem mentioned, this is our first of two events we are hosting this year. We love to bring the industry together at events like this to hear from super smart people on top of their game, but also to network, catch up, do business, learn, and of course socialize. This is my third outing with Campaign in Saudi, and I know you're a big fan of networking. To be honest with you, we don't need to give you much encouragement to network, and we generously factored in an hour and a half this morning, which I think was just the sweet spot for networking. There's also another 30-minute power break halfway through, so that's a solid 2 hours just to catch up with your colleagues and contacts. And with the event ending at 1 p.m, this is the perfect time to go off for a networking lunch with your contacts somewhere. So definitely we're big on networking opportunities. But of course, content is our hallmark. Great content is our hallmark at Campaign. And we have worked hard to bring you a top-notch morning of panels and presentations. The theme today is talent and technology, the two T's. Two themes and two topics that will be top of our minds for years to come. After all, what would we do without talent and technology? Maybe just network all day. So here we are in Saudi, a country going through massive change and transformation, a kingdom looking to the future but keen to preserve its history. The new Saudi generation has a strong interest in technology, and with high usage of e-commerce and social media, they're gearing up to disrupt the market with their skill set. A lot of this is being driven by Generation Z, Gen Z, a group of young people currently aged from 12 to 27 who are growing in influence and importance. More on that later. But what would an event be on talent and technology without referencing AI? I feel sure we will hear those two letters at least a few times this morning. The conversation has moved on quite a bit though from AI is coming. AI is now sitting next to us. A bit like the 7 stages of grief, we are working our way through them. From denial and anger, AI is going to take all our jobs, to working through, to acceptance and hope. I feel we're at the final stage. The hope is AI can complement what we already do. And the fact is already it's coming. But it still falls woefully short in some areas, like writing a script for a Campaign Saudi briefing opening speech, sadly, or even most campaign assets, but it is improving all the time. Okay, enough from me. We're going to move to our first panel of the day, who will be talking about Gen Z and what a great cornerstone it is for marketers to explore, and will bring to attention the new age young Saudis and the role they are playing in impacting brands. With 70% of the population under the age of 30, they certainly are a powerful force for change. Before I welcome our first panel onto the stage, we have a video from the sponsors of that panel, Boopin. Okay, very cool. So, can I first welcome our moderator, Ren Hamoud, who is the General Manager of Bupin. Don't worry, we're getting you chairs. You don't need to stand up. And Rami Al-Rusan, who is the Director of Marketing and Communications at Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Company, EVIC. Next up, we have Saleh S. Al-Gamdi, who is the General Manager, Digital Channels at Mobily. And Wedian Al-Hamdi, who is Marketing Manager at Baja. Please join us on stage. And we will get started. They're just going to get mic'd up for you, and the chairs will come on stage, so we wait with eager anticipation. I would tell some jokes, but they're probably going to be offensive, so I will just keep quiet until they come up on stage. My apologies, I forgot. Adel, sorry for that. I'll owe you something. I'll buy you a coffee afterwards. Eldar Sahi, who is the CMO of the Coffee Address. Maybe I need more coffee actually next time. Okay, so I think we're almost ready. Please come up on stage. I look forward to your panel.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. I take pictures.
رين وديان أنا شخصيا.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you've all had your coffees. You're ready for the day. I'm very happy to see you all again, this time around to discuss Gen Z and their impact on brands and businesses. Very quickly, my name is Ren Hamoud, and I'm the General Manager of Bupin KSA, the new media and marketing agency on the block. We titled this discussion today as Keeping Up with the Gen Zs because they are quite a handful to deal with, in a good sense of the word, don't get me wrong. And while I'm not a Gen Zer myself, that train has long gone. We cannot deny the impact, yeah, it did, unfortunately, for both of us. We cannot deny their impact on society and behavior around us. I mean, the slang they created, if we just think of that, while researching this, it took me quite some time to understand what was, excuse me, Karen, I don't know if you understand what that is. To hand gestures they created, apparently they also canceled the heart signal to this. Yeah. Or even their ability to impose trends in and out. So the latest being, hear me out, this is not a joke, Gen Z has canceled ankle socks. Above the ankle socks are back. I know this is very traumatizing for so many of you, me, myself included. It brings back so many bad memories from the early 2000s. But seriously, beyond the joke and the trends and all of that, their ability to shape and influence opinions is massive. With everything happening in the world right now, calls for wars, economic instability, pandemics, recession forecasts, the group of people that emerges as the most resilient and confident facing changes is Gen Z. And in KSA, this is even more prominent. We have 2/3 of the population well under 30, and they're well on their way on this journey of transformation for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and for the Vision 2030. Add that to a very strong sense of community Saudis and Gen Z in Saudi have, patriotism and optimism, a quality not all Gen Zers share across the world. Saudi is acceptable. The aim of this session today is to try as much as possible to scratch beyond the surface and truly understand Gen Z, how do they behave, and how can brands specifically, because all our list of panelists are from the brand side, how can they equip and empower this audience to face these future challenges, and hopefully we can keep up with. Let me introduce you, please, first. I'll start with Saleh Al-Ghamdi. Saleh is a long-standing marketeer. He comes from Mobile Telco. He is your digital guru on the panel today. He's currently the general manager of the digital channels at Mobile Telco. Rami Roussan, long-standing marketeer with over 17 years of experience on local, regional, and international brands. And he currently holds the title of Director of Marketing and Communication at EVIC. For those of you who don't know, EVIC is the joint venture between PIF and SEC, which is set to build the electric vehicle infrastructure in the kingdom. Adel Al-Sayegh, engineer turned marketeer, don't know why. But he also comes from a long experience in F&B and FMCGs. We're talking brands like Safi Danone, President Cheese, Domino's Pizza, Brain Water, and currently the CMO for the coffee address. And we saved the best for last with the only female panelists today, Wadian Al-Ahmadi. Wadian also comes with a strong experience in FMCG marketing. She brings a very interesting flair on how to develop communication strategies developed and catered to Gen Zs and youth. So without further ado, we'll start with our session. And very honestly, I'd like to start with you, Rami, because EV honestly is the topic of the hour. Climate change, sustainability. I mean, we always kept on saying that climate change is a problem for another day. And the other day is here. This group of audiences are fast moving towards the future and with much uncertainty about the climate and environment future. So how do you think EVs specifically are equipping and helping this audience understand how to deal with these challenges and how can they help them?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for the introduction, Rain, and it's really a pleasure to be part of this panel with such an amazing group of professionals.
Thank you.
To answer your question, let me start with some figures. According to a survey conducted by Deloitte in 2023, titled Global Gen Z and Millennials, 69% of Gen Z said that they actually take actions every day to minimize their impact on the environment. 55% said that they research a brand's environmental impact and policies before accepting a job offer, while 1 in every 6 Gen Zers said that they actually change their job or sector due to climate concerns. That shows how much this generation is aware and active when it comes to environmental and climate or climate changes issues, and that they have a genuine concern and interest to actually take steps against this topic rather than just thinking about it. This actually means that we really don't need to educate this generation about climate change issues because they already know it and they're living it and they are actually active about it. But we rather need to help them understand and believe that we are here to support them in the efforts of making a positive impact. We are actually focusing our efforts on reinforcing our sector's objectives towards reducing the greenhouse gases emissions and stressing on the benefits of EVs to the world and to the environment to help connect with that generation on that topic that is important to them. And we're doing that through an always-on strategy for educational and informative content that will help this generation and our other target audiences as well understand more about that sector and the role it plays in favor of sustainability and planet preservation, and to further even help them overcome the widespread myths that are unfortunately associated with that sector.
To add to your point, and this is a real life. That you can hear us. Okay. Can you hear us now? Very good. Do we repeat? Do we start all over again? Okay. Very good. Just to add to your point, Rami, and it was quite surprising for me. So I went to my son's school a couple of days ago. He's in grade 3, so he's 8 years old. And it was all about bring your parents to school day, talk about career and all of that. And obviously the subject of EVs has been brought up. Obviously you being a client of ours, Lucid as well, luxury EV car. And I was surprised that 7-year-old and 8-year-old knew exactly what EVs are all about, their benefits, how do they function, their impact in society, and why do they need to convert to EVs in the future. So yeah, I think we're quite on track. I want to move to you, Wadian, and to Baja specifically. Baja being an all-encompassing brand from coffee, tea, nuts, seeds, you name it. And not only that, it's quite an established brand. It's been in the market for over 25 years. So how do you make yourself, Baja, the brand, appealing to this generation and make them choose you over other possible probably newer or emerging brands?
Can you hear me? Check. First, I would like to thank you, Rain, for the introduction, and thank you, Campaign Middle East, for having me. So I can sum it up for you into 2 elements. One is understanding the target audience, and 2 is being present on social media. So by understanding target audience, what I mean is not only understand their trends and preferences, but also truly understand as a marketeer that this generation was born in a digital era, right? So they do have access to global trends and global preferences, and as consumers, they develop that appetite for new products. And we as marketeer, we need to fulfill that. So if you don't do that, then they will take their business somewhere else. So we at Baja, alhamdulillah, we are closely monitoring these trends and preferences. So as a case study, we noticed that they picked up an appetite for healthy trends, healthy products. So at Baja, we introduced a full range of healthy mixed nuts, which is a total of 6 products. Each product delivers set nutritional benefits that the addresses their concern. And alhamdulillah, that was a very successful project. So after understanding the target audience, we shouldn't be stopping at that, but also be present on social media as well. And by present, I mean not only have the social media, but actually engage and be active with them. Exactly. Studies shows that Gen Z makes most of their decisions based on 1, if brand is present online, and 2, if they're actively listening to them. So Gen Z, compared to any other generation, they expect a 2-way communication with the brand. And if brands fail to do so, they will consider other brands. And alhamdulillah, at Baja, I'm very happy with the level of engagement we have today in our social media. And to be honest, we're always happy to receive their feedback. And you know what? Sometimes they do inspire us with new products. So that's it.
And to add to your point as well, because we do as part of us running your social pages and listening and all of that, this age group between 17 to almost 25, 28 years of old is extremely engaging, extremely vocal. They talk to the brand as if they're talking to one of their own, to their peers, and they, as you said, they expect us as a brand to keep on talking to them and engaging with them. Very true.
True.
Yeah. Saleh, Mobaili, Telco on the panel. Just picking up on Wadian's point and on how vocal they are and how they expect a 2-ways communication. But this also, and we noticed it very much, they're very skeptical towards the traditional advertising, the traditional way of, this is a new product, go and buy it. So this doesn't resonate with them anymore. How do you bring Gen Z closer to you as a telco?
Okay, thank you for the introduction. I don't consider myself a digital guru yet. You know? I told you I'm still Gen Z. My soul is still Gen Z. Before I start, how many of you work in digital media execution, digital media planning? Can you raise your hands, please? And
here you go.
Okay, how many of you work in creative media, creative? Okay, please don't throw the water bottle at me. Well, I agree with you. They are skeptical. However, it depends on the way you deliver the message. And I've seen some advertisement that they take the outdoor and resize it and shuffle it into the digital platforms. And at the end, they come to you and ask you why we are not getting the desired output. Well, it go back, for the time that we have, I'll talk about the top three. The first one is the obvious one, which is creating an engaging content, especially short form videos. And if you notice, Gen Z consumes a lot of TikTok, a lot of Snapchat, a lot of Instagram Reels. And we noticed actually that in some campaigns, low-cost production films that is filmed with a mobile device. It gets better results than the high-cost production. And it's not a matter of low cost or high cost. It's a matter of how native you are to the platform and how native you are to this generation. Second thing is building authentic relations with influencers. Gen Z trust the influencers, and they follow them and consume their content, daily. When you do an influencer campaign, make sure to use an influencer that uses your product, believes in your product, or believes the company vision. So, for example, Evix. I'm sure I believe in the company vision. It's a BIF company. I think all Gen Z in Saudi believes in any initiative for 2030. So this is the second. The third is the most one of the top. We talked about creative and
personalization.
Yeah, personalization, and this is the most important thing. You utilize data analytics to create specialized offers, personalized communication, promo codes, for example, interacting with them on each journey, on each purchase journey step. For example, when they add to cart and they don't proceed, send them a promo code, and be aware of using this because it's it can be negative to the brand, especially when you use WhatsApp for broadcast. It's a personalized communication, WhatsApp. But when you start broadcasting your social media posts on WhatsApp, they will block you. Make sure you add value to them by personalized communication. So promo codes, offers, get back and get this code, whatever. So these top three, in my opinion, that will help the brands to connect with Gen Z.
Everyone's favorite, coffee and coffee address. So you're a business, you have coffee shops, retail shops. So you're a business that invites several audiences, all age groups, everyone likes coffee. But you're doing something very well and right with Gen Z. This is based on observation. So the most visiting audience at your stores is Gen Z. What are you doing? Can you give us this winning formula that you're doing?
Okay, thank you, Rain. Thank you, Campaign Middle East, for having us today. Thank you for attending the meeting, all of you. Regarding Gen Zs, I will back to the food first. The food is the topic of every day. It's not only 3 times, it's sometimes reached to 6 times with the snacks, with the coffee, with the nuts, with the passing by the fridge to get anything either from Baja or from any another brand, which is give us more advice. We are the center of the talks behind in every place with our relatives, friends, and business. What is your new? What are you doing? So from product angle, I would start having last year, like in the cafe business in the world, not only in Saudi Arabia, matcha was a trend. No one wants to see that green product, but it was a great initiative that came from Japan, and being the trend of last summer across the world. So we should first of all speak about initiative in the food. You need to have a new thing, try a new thing. I'm a classic guy. I don't like to change things. Yet I have a big fight with my wife, my son, my daughter about trying to see the new trends, taste new things, while I used to resist anything. For the locations, now Gen Zs in Saudi Arabia wants to have like beauty locations. So when we go across Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, and Qasim, and Al-Ula, we see a new, what I called it, a new modern places like Dir'iyah. You can see a very clean places that attract Gen Zs to come to your place, either your coffee shop or other businesses. And from like 6 years, the economic pressure, now even the buying the money from the banks being very expensive, the cyber very high. So people being cost conscious. Gen Z now is in between two fights, either to accommodate the needs, having the added value product. So finding the formula of having the right value for money product, being reasonable to your consumer, having the highest price, for sure you will give you the premiumness, but at the end Gen Zs and youth says, and we don't want to sell our kidneys to buy a coffee at any day. So from advertisement even, we need to see what is the edge that attract people. So TikTok made a great and outstanding job in the past 2 years in Saudi Arabia from penetration angle on how they attract people to see the new trends. Any brands want to mix 2, 3, 4 I would say item from their menu in our sector. The TikTok is the right place to share that, but having the awareness, it might be another brand for the product, to don't neglect others. But here where you can be innovative and take the attraction of the Gen Z to your brand. Thank you, everyone.
Back to the note with Jan on Gen Z and KSA versus the world. Obviously, they all share the same age bracket. This is common to everyone. But Gen Zs and KSA are very distinct. The sense of community and the moral values that they hold is unseen. How do you see this translating into marketing? And what are the areas of similarities and differences beyond that between the Gen Zs of KSA and the West?
Thank you, Rain. It's an interesting question. I think we as marketeers, sometimes we tend to think that one size fits all, and especially when it comes to Gen Z, we tend to stereotype them. However, Gen Z, they are really different in terms of which region they're coming from. However, they do share similarities. So since they are born in the digital era, they are the most connected, engaged, and vocal. But the key differences in Gen Z, between the two audiences, Gen Z and West and Saudi Arabia, is that Gen Z in the West, they expresses a lot of individuality and self-expression, and they do want brands to see that and talk to them to who they are. While in Saudi, Gen Z, they are brought up in such a culture value that they do, it's a community. They do respect and they do admire and they are keen on keeping. And if you really think about it as well, that's the whole vision of 2030 as well. It's bringing our true identity to the world. So their expectation from brands is to bring that international quality standard products or idea, but at the same time dress it as local and speak as local in order to, and I think Gen Z, they respect that. They respect it when brands not only immerse in their culture, but also embrace it. So if you really think about it, it's a bit challenging, but if marketeer manage to crack that formula, they will win the heart of Gen Z. And I think Gen Z as a generation, if you win with them, they become your true brand advocate, 100%.
I might sound biased, but I believe that you cracked it. Again, this is a very recent example that we had with Baja, with all the calls for local substitutes for international brands. The latest was being the instant coffee and how you listen to. If we go back to the engagement and how they talk and they expect brands to listen to them and to act on that, how you put it forward, our local instant coffee, and that we're there. We have it as a brand, as a culture, as a nation, and we're ready to serve you. Yeah, absolutely. Rami, we're back to you and back to Evic. I know if we are to talk about EVs and climate changes and its impact, we would need a whole session. Very, very obviously, Gen Z are going to be the easier to convert, to make them adopt electric vehicles. But what's the right way to do that? Is it a good marketing strategy? Is that the route to their hearts and minds?
Well, it's a great question. So allow me to answer the last part first. As a marketeer, of course, I have to say yes. Marketing is definitely. But that's not the reason. Yeah. Marketing is well known to have the ability to connect brands and products to consumers' needs at once. And this is done through creatively linking between consumers' insights and brands or products' features and benefits. So we have on one hand a generation that actively cares about the environment and the planet. On the other hand, we have a product that positively contributes to the environment by reducing carbon emissions from transportation sector. Also, we know that Gen Z is a very tech-savvy generation. So this makes EVs even more appealing to them because of their advanced technologies and features that set them apart from the internal combustion engine cars. So what we really need to do is make it visible and clear to this generation how switching to an electric vehicle will help them take an active step towards helping that cause that they believe in and that they care about, while enjoying the advanced technology and futuristic experience of an electric vehicle. So yes, informative and engaging marketing content is definitely helpful for this generation to understand how much impact they can make by switching to an electric vehicle. And finally, when we say better marketing for Gen Z, I believe it's not about the fast-paced content that appeals to the 8 seconds attention span stereotype that we have about them. It's more about breaking through the clutter and standing out among the hundreds of content pieces that they consume every day.
On that note, Saleh, if we are to just catch on Rami's note, so how do they consume media? So what's the best way for a typical purchase journey for Gen Z? Is it the same as the older generation? Is that how we get to them?
Well, Gen Z born with access to information. So they are research extensive. They search for everything on online. And the first thing any brand that needs to be successful is to have the best ratings, customer ratings, and customer reviews. And for that, brands need to make sure they have best customer experience, either online or in store. They have best after-sale services, and they have also a dedicated care team with excellence in their work. Gen Z also values the experience over price. And from the last event at Google, we've seen a switch in the search behavior. They started searching for best items, best products over cheapest items, cheapest products. So we've seen this keyword start to rise and the cheapest start to decrease. Added value also, they are very smart when it comes to finding values. We've seen this especially in the banking sector. For credit cards, they started to look for the best points. I remember 10 years ago, no one looks for the benefits of credit card, but watch today how they work, and the cash back and everything. So this is basically a summary of.
They're definitely outsmarting everyone. Adel, ختامها مسك. So we know you're a TikTok fan. TikTok people, I hope you took note of that. Yeah, well. So how are social apps helping you reach your audience? What are they bringing to the table?
Yeah, first of all, we need to back to what is the campaign here, what is the objective that you want to do for your consumer. So if it's news, we know that X or called X in the past, Twitter is the best platform to share news or share complaints at the same time. If you don't want to receive bad complaint, you should be from your objective as a campaign to be far away from X. Back to the second biggest platform in Saudi Arabia, we can speak about Instagram. If you have beauty or something that you want to share with your friend, with your relative, going to the sea, going to desert, you can share your amazing moment that you want to memorize on Instagram. If you want to engage with the customer, having a fun moment for your brand, engaging with the brand, having your consumer happy after posting your content. TikTok is cracking the need here. If you want to share a commercial video like the old TVC ad, YouTube still is the right place with the duration that allow creative like Ahmed Cornish to make their videos as long as they want before having the shortcut based on the platform that suit your objective. Back to summarize the answer, you need to define your objective versus the audience in each platform. Thank you, Rain. Thank you, everyone, for attending the session.
I think, yeah, a good mix of everything would help. That concludes our panel. Thank you for attending. If anyone has a question, now is your chance. If no, we can leave. But thank you again for allowing this opportunity. See you again next year, hopefully. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. الله يهديك تفضل.
ليديز فيرست مرة ثانية.
تعرف ايش قصتها ليديز فيرست؟
والله ما ادري بس إن يقولون ان السعوديين شاطفينها قلنا نحاول نحسن السمعة شوي. الله يسعدك. هذا جزء من التحول.
Okay, many thanks to our first panel. Ren expertly moderated that panel. Thanks to Adele, Rami, Saleh, and Wedian for joining us. And I'll mention Adele again because I forgot you first time around. I hope you don't ban me from coming to get a coffee from you. But anyway, that was a very interesting panel where we talked about Gen Z. There's so many takeaways. Don't wear ankle socks, be careful of your hand gestures, and definitely follow influencers. And apologies for the initial teething problems with the microphones. We hope to have that fixed, and we should be raring to go. Next up, we have our first of two keynote presentations. This one is on unified CTV platforms, how tech innovations can be game changers in advertising. Technological innovations are reshaping connected TV, CTV advertising, presenting challenges and both opportunities for marketers. Currently, media planning for CTV occurs in isolated silos, highlighting the need for a uniform platform for CTV media planning, buying, and enhancing the overall effectiveness of the advertising strategies. This shift paves the way for a new era in advertising. Now, to tell us more, we have Zap Ads. Before I welcome the speaker onto stage, we're just going to show you a short Zap Ads film.
Today, CTV penetration has reached a high of 88%, giving multiple advertising opportunities to brands. But challenges like discrete media buying is slowing advertisers. To combat this challenge, Zap Ads has introduced Unwire, a unified campaign management platform to simplify comprehensive ad management and enhance reach and scalability. Unwire helps streamline CTV advertising across multiple platforms, which helps in enhanced reach and precision targeting, unified reporting hub, cost-effective, complete planning tool, scalability, along with premium inventory. In brand-safe environment and transparent reporting system. Come explore CTV advertising with Unwire, cutting the cords.
Okay, so I'd like to welcome onto the stage Gagan Upal, who is the country head for MENA for Zap Ads Media. Please join us.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me at the back end. Am I audible now? Thank you very much. Okay, so we humans have evolved over a period of time, so have been our preference in terms of technology from traditional TV to smart TVs. But has the media buying and planning process evolved at the same pace? That's the question today in the current scenario. Let's see how unified CTV platform can be a game changer in the current environment. See, brands have so many ways to advertise and reach to the users. They can use CTV advertising and reach to the target audience when they are at their comfort level. CTV advertising is growing globally at a massive scale right now. Number speaks for itself. Currently, when we are looking at the global numbers, CTV advertising is about to grow to $100 billion in the next couple of years. But when we are looking at the MENA region is also contributing the good share out of the space. So currently we are standing on $160 million in the MENA region, and we are growing at 4.27 annual growth on a yearly basis, which will be, by the end of this decade, we will be standing on $200 million in the MENA region. Why CTV advertising is very important from a brand perspective? It's a new age television, which is offering the measurement over the traditional TV. There is 100% viewability, which is very important for the brands when it comes to the targeting or running any ads in any ecosystem. There is a premium content available. There is a VOD, SOVD content, which brands and every consumer is consuming on the go. High view-through rates, less ads per minute, and non-blockable video ads. So that means the ads are getting consumed, they are getting the maximum share in the ecosystem when the user is consuming. CTV user behavior is very common when it comes to the digital ecosystem. CTV user is also on social media, they are also on e-commerce platforms, they're consuming music, they're playing games, and they're downloading new apps on a regular basis. CTV user is someone who is growing with the digital ecosystem and growing at a faster pace in comparison to other channels. Audience targeting, when it comes to the CTV, all kind of a targeting is available. Starting from your geographical targeting, lookalike targeting, demographic targeting, behavioral targeting, timestamp targeting. You can select the specific time when you want to run your ads. Interest-based targeting, what kind of a content user is consuming, and what kind of a device they are consuming the content on. There are challenges, and every media comes with their own challenges. Now CTV is growing, so there are challenges attached to it. The biggest challenge right now is there is a lack of single solution platform which offers 100% inventory under one roof. Currently, all the media buying is happening in isolation. Somebody is buying on one of the OEMs, which is like LG. Somebody is buying on Samsung. Somebody is buying on TCL. Somebody is buying on Xiaomi. But is there a single platform available which gets a unified approach for the brand? Because users are everywhere. There is a standalone media buying, which is the major challenge. Every OEM offers different targeting options. Samsung will have a different targeting offerings. LG will have different targeting offerings. But is that comprises or suffice to the brand needs? Because brand wants to target the audience, not the devices. Perception-based buying is the biggest challenge right now. I will give you an example. Let's take a scenario. You have two TVs at home. One is in the kids' room, one is in the drawing room. Maybe your kid is consuming a cartoon TV content or kids content on a Samsung TV, which is perceived as a most premium device. And you have another TV which is Hisense, and you're consuming a CNN or a Bloomberg content on which, but you're still not perceived as a premium audience. So it's a perception-based audience buying which is happening at this moment. So because we are in the new age and we are in the new era, we have to broaden our mindset and we have to move away from perception and assumption-based buyings. We have to look for the audience from a brand perspective or from a planning perspective. As we have already established the need of a unified platform, we need to look into it, how it can be a game changer for the planners or for the buyers. Let's have a look. Media planning tool. Unified platform can be a planning tool for the agencies or for the brands. Basically, if you look at current scenario, you have only limited audience data available from one of the OEMs. Audience are abundant in the digital ecosystem. Let's look for the unified platform which can bring a planning tool and give you audience access under the one roof. Then cross-platform reach. Currently, all the reach is becoming in the silos. You have some unique reach coming from a Samsung, some unique reach coming from another devices. So when you marry it, you don't know the duplication of your audience, which is happening across all the devices. So unified platform will be able to help you get a cross-platform reach into the unique reach. Comprehensive analytics. Comprehensive analytics is very important for the brands from a planning perspective or for the future data reference perspective. I will show you in the coming 2 slides how it will be comprehensive when it comes to getting a unified platform in place. Let's have a look. CTV ecosystem. CTV ecosystem is not only limited to the OEMs. Like it's not only limited to LG or Xiaomi or Samsung or Philips or Sony. There are fast channels, which are premium channels like BBC, like your Euronews, your Al Jazeera, Bloomberg, Sky News. This is also a part of a CTV ecosystem. Then comes the CTV apps. There are CTV apps which are like Disney, MX Player, Shahid, Hulu. And then there are streaming devices from Chromecast to your Amazon Fire Stick to your Realme Smart TV. So CTV ecosystem is not only limited to the OEMs or a device which is getting used for consuming the content. It is the whole ecosystem which is comprised of 4 major pillars. So comprehensive data will only come from a unified platform if all the pillars are getting joined under the same ecosystem. Consistent brand experience, because brand is advertising and targeting the audience on a regular basis. They need a consistent brand experience from the data perspective, from an audience perspective, how they are able to target the same user again with what kind of a communication. So they need to have a consistent data to flow into their ecosystem to use on a regular basis for a lifelong campaigns. Greater scalability. So your scalability comes with the unified platform. You are not only limited to one of the OEMs, you are getting access to all the OEMs, all the fast channels, CTV apps, and the streaming devices. That is bringing the scalability to the campaigns, scalability in terms of your targeting audience, and maximize reach. Streamlined campaign management. Unified platform will be able to help you at the planning stage, optimization stage, execution stage, and at the reporting stage, which is very important from a media planning and a buying perspective. Cost efficiency, because there's no monopoly in the ecosystem. Nobody's controlling the rates. You are focusing on the audience, not on the devices. So eCPMs will effectively go down and it will bring the maximum reach in the ecosystem. Connected TV is growing at a tremendous speed right now. Let's streamline and simplify its impact. This is what we are trying to bring into the ecosystem, and this is where the need of a unified platform is needed in the media planning and the buying process. I'm happy to answer any questions for anyone if they have. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back everyone. Excellent timekeeping. Super impressed everyone's back at 12. Just to remind you about that QR code for the Minatech prizes. If you want to scan the QR code, otherwise I'll take all the prizes myself. So that's a great incentive there. So next up we have our second keynote presentation of the morning. This one is called Let's Talk Creative Products! And it needs it. It's from TikTok. In a world overflowing with technological advancements, unlocking creativity has never been easier and more efficient. We're going to hear about TikTok's suite of creative products and how they're revolutionizing the landscape for advertisers, partners, and agencies alike. So I would like to welcome on stage our speaker, Yasmin Siwalam, who is Creative Operations Manager at TikTok. Please join us.
Thank you. Let's just move on from that picture quickly. Cool. Hello, everyone. My name is Yasmin. I am obviously from TikTok, and I'm part of the Creative Operations team. Now, what the Creative Operations team does is that we handle a suite of we handle a full ecosystem of creative products and tools that enable our advertisers to reach both their brand goals and their business objectives. So that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today. But before we start with that, I have a question to kind of leave out in the room, right? And this question is, where do great ideas come from? I think historically, right, and I come from a creative agency background, great ideas came from sitting down at 2 a.m. with a full team when the agency shut down and you're there last minute trying to come up with that winning idea for your brand. But the reality is, things are shifting, right? We have at our disposal a whole host of tools that we can use in order to help us come up with these great ideas. And that begs the question, when we are trying to come up with great ideas or trying to come up with winning ideas, what role does technology play versus the human mind, right? Is creativity and human ingenuity synonymous, or can we rely on technology to take us to that next level? I'm sorry if the mic sounds a bit, is this better? Cool. All right. And I think this question is so important because a lot of us, especially in creative industries, are kind of afraid or hesitant when we are told that technology is coming into the scene, right? So is AI going to take over my job? Am I still going to have a role? And to be honest with you, I think that it's not a question of technology or human, it's rather a question of technology and human. We heard earlier in the panel today, there are a lot of challenges that advertisers are facing these days, right? You have to personalize, you have to talk to everybody in their own tone, you have to produce high variety of content, you have to keep up with trends, and all of these things can become very tasking for yourselves and for your creative teams, right? So how can technology collaborate with human ingenuity in order to make your creative journey more efficient? So the future of creativity, and I think as TikTok, this goes without saying, we believe that technology needs to be a partner and not a competitor in order to help you really excel and stand out in such a cluttered environment. Because the ladder to achieving impact is getting more and more complex, right? It's not just about one great idea. It's also about one great idea delivered in all of the ways that it needs to be, speaking the language of your audience, and finally, all of that is how you end up having lasting impact with your audiences and achieving all of your complex business goals. And so clearly, we think they go together. And there are a few different things that we have put at the disposal of our advertisers to help you navigate from imagination, or rather the subjectivity that can come with ideation and putting together your ideas, all the way to delivering impactful campaigns that are going to resonate. So the whole mission is that it's easy, it's efficient, and it's effective, so that you are not staying up until 2 a.m. trying to come up with that idea, but rather you can rely on a technological partner in order to get you there. Deal. And I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning, part of the creative operations team. And this is what we do, right? So we are here to put out all of the different tools that can help you partner human ingenuity with the power of technology to achieve ease and efficiency when putting out your ideas. And we have tools for you at every single step of the creative journey. So we start with ideation through to production, and finally, how do we optimize our campaigns and make sure that they are reaching everybody that they need to and delivering on our objectives. So I'm going to start first. I'm not sure if you're familiar with these tools. I would love to see some hands or some energy if you know these tools. The very first one that I'm going to talk about in the field of ideation, or rather to help you solve your ideation problems, is Creative Assistant, recently renamed Symphony Assistant for anyone who's keeping up to date with the news. So what is Creative Assistant? Creative Assistant is your chat bot within our Creative Center. And what it does is that it enables you to understand everything that is happening within TikTok's content ecosystem. So what I mean by that is you can understand what is trending in terms of audios that are trending, hashtags, keywords, products, ads that are trending. And this chatbot enables you to use it just as you would other assistive chatbots. You ask it a question, ask it to summarize everything that's happening on the platform, and it can help you ideate for your campaigns in this way. So it's an incredibly powerful tool that within it also has something called the script generator. So again, this is another one, another AI-enabled tool that we have. Script generator takes script writing from being an hours-long endeavor to seconds, right? It's literally that simple. You go on, you input some very kind of minor details about your brand, about the product name, some keywords, and it's going to generate a script for you following content best practices. So you have your hook, you have your body, you have your CTA. It really is that simple. And now, going back to what I was saying, the endeavor is not to replace the copywriters that you have on hand, right? The endeavor is maybe they start with something like this. It makes their life a lot easier. They take it, they adapt it, they localize it, they add their flair to it, right? So it's just helping really expedite ideation from being such a heavy and tasking task to something that can really be so much simpler and done in seconds. So you've ideated for your next idea, you understand what's happening on TikTok's ecosystem, you've used Creative Assistant, you've saved some valuable time. The next thing that we can do, and we've already heard about the importance of creators or influencers for Gen Z in specific, is collaborate with creators. Now, how are we traditionally doing this now? We're partnering with creator agencies who are spending a lot of time, energy, and resources reaching out to these creators one by one, going out, trying to find them, scouting TikTok, or looking for them through different means. But we have a tool that can facilitate this, and I think this one might be one of our most famous ones. This is TikTok Creator Marketplace. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with it. Essentially, it's your one-stop shop for all things creator. You go in, you don't really have to ask the creator to send you their insights or any of their previous work. It's all available on there. And in Saudi, even when you go and you search for creators, you can see where they're based by city. So is their audience based more in Riyadh, in Jeddah, etc.? It's an incredibly powerful tool that can save you a lot of time. And you can also reach out to creators through it and launch your campaigns through Creator Marketplace as well. The other thing, and this is actually very, very excited. So this is TikTok Creative Challenge, or TTCC for short. There's a lot of TT something or others with us, but bear with me. So TikTok Creative Challenge is a performance tool for our performance clients who are looking for scale. They are looking to reach out to as many people as possible, collaborating with as many creators as possible, and this platform allows them to do this. So think of it more so as a casting call, right? You as an advertiser go on, you submit your brief, and you put it out to all of the creators that are signed up to TikTok Creative Challenge. And they sign up to your brief, send you videos, you take them, you run them, and you're getting videos on a weekly basis. In fact, up to 30 videos every single week from content creators. And all you have to do is just log in, provide some quick feedback on their videos, and you're really just ready to launch. In fact, this, if you're interested, do chat to me, because it's now open on allow list basis only for Saudi Arabia, and it's the first market that we're launching with in MENA, and we already have some fantastic apps advertisers on here as well. The very last thing that I'm going to leave you with is really a tool that can help you solve for the issue of versatility, for example, or diversity. So we mentioned that we need to create content that targets people in their own language or through a separate variation. Let's say, for example, you're a business who has different offers depending on the city or depending on the country, etc. You need to output content at scale. This is what Creative Exchange can help you with. So TikTok Creative Exchange is a platform that connects advertisers with partners that are vetted and that are experts when it comes to creating TikTok-first content. So we train them ourselves, we onboard these partners, we are nurturing the entire ecosystem when it comes to their abilities to create for TikTok. And it's something that, as an advertiser, really saves you a lot of time. You go on, you even submit your TVC, right? I think a lot of the times TVCs can be villainized when we're talking about TikTok, but the fact of the matter is there is a place for them. The only thing that's needed is to adapt that piece of content to fit the platform, right, and to speak the platform's language. So TikTok Creative Exchange is a way in which you can customize that TVC for all of your audiences on the platform. This is just an overview of everything that we went over. So we have tools and products that are servicing ideation, production, and finally optimization, right? And the way that this all connects is that technology here is really saving time, money, and effort when it comes to ideating and launching your campaigns on TikTok. And it's something that should be embraced as opposed to feared, because it really can help propel your creative work to the next level. And with that, that's me. Thank you very much. I hope this was insightful. If you have questions, you can find me outside.
Many thanks, Yasmin, for that very insightful presentation. It's incredible talking about TikTok without anybody doing a silly dance in any of the videos. But as we know, TikTok's moved on a lot from that. Great creator tools, the marketplace, and script writers, so definitely evolving. So now, last but no means least, we have our second panel of the morning. I'm not saying that because I'm moderating it. It's actually a very good topic, talking about Diriyah season. The panel is called Innovating Tradition, Redefining Cultural Narratives Through Media and Advertising. This panel will delve into innovative strategies behind the groundbreaking Regional First campaign launch for Diriyah season. It will discover the transformative potential of innovative collaborations in shaping brand experience and promoting authentic and inclusive audience engagement, while also aligning with the broader values of Saudi's Vision 2030. Before I welcome our panelists on stage, we're going to show a short film from MCN.
300 years ago, Saudi Arabia was born in the heart of Diriyah. Today, the kingdom is racing towards achieving Vision 2030, a comprehensive roadmap aimed at diversifying the nation's economy. But the true story of the deep-rooted, value-driven side of Saudi Arabia as a brand was still untold. Diriyah season was ideally placed to bring the story to life. While big brands rely on premium outdoor media buying to push generic messages in a one-to-many approach, Diriyah changed the game by unleashing the power of real, authentic Saudi creators through a many-to-many approach. We created a bigger canvas with a groundbreaking global-first concept, CapCut with TikTok out of phone, that merged TikTok with out-of-home advertising and turned the Saudi TikTok community into digital billboard stars. As a first step, we collaborated with TikTok content creators to capture their experiences in Diriyah and shared the most compelling videos. Then we invited the public to be content creators themselves by using the template and showcasing their real-life Diriyah experiences. The best public creations were selected to be displayed immediately across 300 out-of-home screens, including key locations like Boulevard Riyadh City. The campaign reached all of the 8 million population of Riyadh. Over 14,900 people that used the CapCut template helped Diriyah season connect with its audience, increasing the sentiment towards the brand dramatically. Without a phone, we enabled the people to tell their own Daraya stories by taking a business-to-consumer advertising medium and turning it into an authentic consumer-to-consumer conversation.
Okay, some pretty impressive figures there. Now to tell us more about that, I'd like to welcome on stage Nadeem Ibrahim, who is Head of Digital at UMKSA, Warren Davey, who is Integrated Business Director, FP7 McCann KSA, and Tony Yamin, who is Head of Government, Telco, Media, Financial Services, and Real Estate MENA for TikTok. Please join me on the stage. Okay, yeah.
Tables. Gonna hold.
Okay, just getting set up. Hope you can hear us, everybody. No, you can't. Okay, I hope everybody can hear us clearly. We're going old school by holding the mics, well I am anyway there. So welcome. Should we start with, if you want to give a short intro to yourself and just how you're involved in this project? I think that'd be a good starting point. Should we start, Nadeem, with you?
Yep, my name is Nadeem Ibrahim. I'm Head of Digital and Strategy at UM. It's a bit weird. And I was involved on the strategy and the activation front for this campaign.
Hi everyone, I'm Warren Davey. I'm Integrated Business Director at FP7 McCann in KSA. So Dilia is our client. So yeah, I was leading on there from the creative agency perspective, but also on the integration perspective.
Hey all, so I'm Tony and I lead on some of our verticals for TikTok. On this one, so I was on TikTok's side guiding in terms of the strategy, the thinking and how we can actually get this to life through the platform. A lot of innovative formats that we'll talk about in a second, but that was sort of TikTok's role in terms of the overall setup.
Okay, thank you very much. So now we talk about innovation a lot, but this truly was innovative, this campaign. You can see that from the video, and you're going to tell us more about that now. It's really the backstory, I think, would help people who sort of, aren't aware of it there and the concept behind the campaign. So if someone would like to kick us off, just tell us, about the background behind all this.
Yeah, you go for it.
Okay. Yeah, so Diria Season is, I guess, a sort of unique brand in the season category, in that it's not just an entertainment brand. It's obviously the brand that's telling the founding story of a nation. It's a cultural brand. It's a heritage brand. And so we needed to find a different way of telling that story to. Like Riyadh Season, obviously bigger budgets, could kind of use, bigger media than we could. So we need to find a way of telling the story differently, but also involving the people of Saudi Arabia, because it's about them, it's their story, it's their experiences that make up Riyadh Season. So we had to think differently about how we tell that story. And essentially what we did is we decided to let them tell the story. So we've done lots of user-generated content on social before the campaign, which worked well. And we decided that we wanted to use that, and really give more reach by partnering with TikTok to kind of make users billboard stars by using their user-generated content and showcasing it across the whole of Saudi Arabia.
Does anyone want to add anything about this innovative idea?
Yeah, I think everyone here probably talks about innovation, right? Day in, day out, I want to have an innovative campaign. But the challenge I have usually is innovation. What does innovation actually mean? And there's a new definition called true innovation, unfortunately, we have to create. And for this particular campaign, I think, given the noise in Riyadh itself around Riyadh Season, Diriyah is one of the crown jewels in Riyadh that is sometimes a forgotten about destination. So what we wanted to sort of amplify further was, how do you bring two mediums that are most significant in Saudi together? And this is where sort of by fusing TikTok and or digital with outdoor in near enough real time. You have the ability then to transport people's CapCut, or I guess their experience of the RIA across billboards in Saudi Arabia. So this was one of the key elements from our perspective, which was you have to sometimes take a step back to do something that's out of the ordinary, but in actual essence was quite simple. It was quite simple in the sense that it still stood true to what innovation actually meant, and also it actually brought a lot of people closer to the brand of the RIA. And in the previous segment by TikTok, I liked how they used, which was around about human and technology, and this was very much standing true to that human and technology element.
Of course, yeah, we heard from TikTok, your colleague Tony, before this. Now, for you, bringing to the table that innovative side, how did you come about that on this project, bringing a really innovative idea to the Diriyah season campaign?
Sure. And by definition, right, or at least by my definition, right, innovation is doing things that have not been done before, or taking things to a new height, doing something that's memorable. And with this campaign, we saw that come to life in a very significant way, right? And, to add to the context of Warren and Nadeem, Diriyah wanted to do something that's a little bit different, kind of wrap up the season in style, get people to remember, some of their best moments at Diriyah. And what best way to do it than through the eyes of people that actually experienced Diriyah. And right, on TikTok, we've already seen multiple times the use of user-generated content kind of as an add-on to what brands bring to the platform. But this was the first time where we took this user-generated content from the platform all the way to out-of-home billboards all over Riyadh. So that was kind of the spark or the innovative element that came to life. And actually, it was a global first in the sense that we used for the first time CapCut, which is our video editing tool, and enabled the creation of a template that was then used by users on TikTok to create their content, and then transmitted that to out-of-phone billboards. So kind of bringing those user-generated pieces of content all the way from TikTok, from the online world, to the offline world to sort of, take over, if you want, the country for a few weeks or for a period of time. And maybe one more element to add on that front is, when it comes to innovation, I think it's really cool to do things that are out of the ordinary, right? Or to kind of stand out from the crowd. But what is the actual impact of innovation? It's really to the points that were mentioned before, right? I think Rami mentioned it earlier, and then Yasmin even in her session. There's a lot of clutter right now. There's a lot of people trying to grab attention, and attention span of users in general is quite limited, right? So how do we actually differentiate ourselves? And this is really the way to do it, being innovative, being memorable, and kind of taking over things beyond just what we're used to see. And that's the only way you can actually grab attention and get people to listen and to watch your content.
Absolutely. So I think you touched upon it earlier. This innovation is a buzzword. It maybe is overused. Authenticity is another one we see a lot, and it's really just, how we can bring that conversation forward. Now, obviously, this wasn't innovation for the sake of innovation. Innovation is very important. Why is that? Is it from a consumer point of view to show the brands what you can do as a platform, as agencies? For all three of you, I guess the question is just why is innovation so important in today's world?
Well, I think this is all about, targeting Gen Zs, right? And innovation is definitely important from that perspective. When you're trying to appeal to a new set of generation, even the future consumers of your brand today, you think of Gen Alpha as well now, right? And you have to have innovative ways or endorse and embracing new technological ways to be able to engage with that audience. I think if you're not in that space right now, it's never too late in Saudi especially, but you want to be part of that party at the very early stage and the very nascent stage of that journey. So to be able to sort of connect with a younger audience, it's super important to have that innovative mindset, or not even an innovative mindset, I would say more of a technological mindset of, from a marketing communication perspective, you have to probably have technology as the front arm before you think of the traditional means. And that is using a variation of different things, and Warren probably agrees with this, is that it's not just a simple TVC, for example, it's probably a refined 5-second version of that, and how do you appeal to that audience? I would say that technology is probably critical to appeal to a younger audience in that sense.
Tony, Warren, anything to add to that, about the importance of innovation?
I just think from a creative agency perspective, there's yeah, there's no such thing as a new idea, right? Or yeah, everything's been done before in some shape or form, and we need to cut through. We need to stand out, and innovation is a tool that we can use to do that and be different and differentiate. So I think we've got to always look at it seriously about how it can do that for our brands. We shouldn't do it just for the sake of it. It has to have a purpose, has to have an end goal. And I think in this instance, it was really about how do we use the texture of people's experiences with an experienced brand, a cultural brand, an authentic brand, to really bring those to life and showcase them across a campaign. So it had a purpose, and it allowed us to be different. But yeah, technology is there for us to sort of stand out from creatively, but we have to make sure that we're not just using it for the sake of using it.
Good point. And Tony, for you, being innovative as someone like TikTok, is it tough? As Warren mentioned, there's no new ideas. It's just improving on the existing ideas. How do you continue to push those boundaries?
Yeah, and I echo obviously Nadeem and Warren on what they've mentioned already, right? Innovation is not there for the sake of innovation, right? It's there to capture users' attention. Going back to the first point that I mentioned, in our day and age, users are really bombarded with content across multiple channels, and being innovative enables you to kind of take a step back and get them to listen to you. Now, obviously, as we mature and as technology plays a bigger role in everything that we do, it becomes harder and harder to innovate because less and less newer solutions are out there, and you kind of have to make do with what's already out there. But I think this is a proper example of using multiple elements and bringing them together in a way that's not been done before to actually capture users' attention. So I think that's what it goes back to in the end of the day, right? And from a brand's perspective, yes, you need to be innovative and you need to stand out, but the impact that you generate in terms of capturing users is what you're trying to achieve at the end of the day.
And Warren, I think you touched upon it. You said this was a different type of brand. You talked about Durious Season and what people know it for, and just can you tell us a little bit more about how you're promoting a different side of the brand?
Yeah. As I said, Duria is the story of the nation, right? The founding story of the nation. It's a brand for the people, about the people, experienced by the people. So it didn't feel quite right for us just to kind of broadcast that on a sort of one-to-many approach. We needed to somehow involve them and showcase their real experiences of the brand, their real experience of how Duria touches them, to make it feel authentic. And also, it's those texture of experiences across a range of people and a range of audiences, because it is for everybody. So we wanted to get that across. And so by using this particular innovation, I guess we move from a one-to-many approach to a many-to-many conversation. And it was quite unnerving for us as a creative agency, actually, because we had to let control of the creative reins. We were giving over control to a CapCut template, to a moderation process, and to the users ultimately their experience. But it was the right thing to do to build that authentic experience brand in a way that was authentic.
And I guess for the actual campaign, was it the innovation side of things, sort of pushing you on, knowing that there's that technology there, the Gen Z consumers, what was really driving you? Or you might have mentioned it as well, the challenge. Is it always about the challenge and the buzz of working on something new drives you on as an agency and I guess as a platform?
I think what drove us on was, as I said before, we wanted to make sure that it wasn't just us doing the talking, that somehow we involved the users, and we just had to find a really different way of approaching that.
I think innovation, having any form of innovation is a great pressure point to have for any respective agency or platform, because, and I've said this on a few occasions, is that in Saudi Arabia, with the energy that's going around about innovation, true innovation, Vision 2030, new entities coming to the surface in Saudi itself, one of the biggest manifestos is that how do we do something that's different, that's never been done before, and particularly in advertising, we're in this era of we can redefine a lot of things. We can redefine what truly advertising is. We can redefine what is innovation. We can truly define what is the best practice to engage with a youth audience. And let's not forget, Saudi is one of the very few nations that has a very high young audience population compared to others. So we can by far become that very much thought leadership that's the epicenter of innovation about what's the new way of communicating with audiences in the right manner. So it's a great pressure point to have, and I think if anything, it does give me grey hairs, almost a bald head, but without it, I don't think we'll be in the place that we're in today.
I know all about having a bald head, so don't worry about that. And so just wanted to move on about how there's got these three elements. You've got the technology, you've got the media, and you've got the creative elements. You know, just three distinct areas, practices, bringing them together. How was that done, and to what, you know, success obviously, but how did you meld all those three things together?
Well, from a creative agency perspective, it was quite an unnerving experience, really, because normally the creative process is a client brief, you know, a creative brief, into creative, into production, and we, as a creative agency, control that whole process. That wasn't how it worked here. You know, we had to rely on, you know, CapCut and TikTok's expertise in terms of how to build a compelling but simple CapCut template. You know, we wanted to over-engineer it creatively. It's like, no, keep it simple. If you want people to use this, it has to be simple. So we had to let go of the reins a bit there. Then when it came to the billboard creative, we had to let go of the reins there because it had to, you know, house this user-generated content. So we were almost like the client in some respects in the process, which is an uncomfortable place for a creative agency to be. And we had to just let go of control and trust the process, which again isn't always a comfortable place for a creative agency to be. But you know, and just trust that the content, the user-generated content, the user's experience would do the job, and it did, thankfully. But it was quite an uncomfortable, you know, process for us, just because it was new.
As you say, that comfort zone, it's great to step out of that comfort zone and see what the results are like. And then Tony, for you, you know, as TikTok there, we talked about the creativity side of things there. There's obviously a human element, there's the media, technology. For you, how did you see that?
Sure. And, you know, when you look at the overall campaign and all of the things that happened, you might think that it's a really complex process, right? All the way from creating content on the platform to kind of having specific user-generated pieces live on billboards all over Riyadh, right? So it is, in essence, a complex project, but if broken down, you know, to multiple steps with the right partners and the right stakeholders, then it becomes much easier. So in this case, for example, obviously the FP7 team drove the creative idea, but then partnered with someone from TikTok's side to think through the template that lived on CapCut. And then, you know, obviously the UM team was driving across multiple elements in terms of getting user-generated content on the platform, and then you'd have potentially TikTok moderating a lot of the content in the back end, and eventually another creative partner that's actually resizing the content so it lives on billboards all over Riyadh. So it's actually professionals across different dimensions, all of them owning their task and making sure that, you know, you're getting the best out of it. And if you add up all of it with a few accountable stakeholders, I think you'll get the results that we saw in this campaign.
And then just moving on now to the outcomes. Now, we saw the video before you came on the stage, saw some big figures, some big numbers. It was obviously a successful campaign. Can you talk more about the outcomes?
We could talk about some soft outcomes, because some of these are still undergoing some awesome outcomes as well. But I think the fact that you're able to concentrate your efforts in one city out of Saudi to then reach pretty much everyone from an eyeball perspective, and then to have that incremental snowball factor of that level of engagement to add on to that was phenomenal. And the sentiment piece, right? The whole sentiment, and like Warren was saying, it was a campaign for the people, you know, and to make them billboard famous to some extent, it was to be able to shift that sentiment and that perception of the Riyadh. It's not an alternative to Riyadh season, if anything. It's very much separate to that. But I was able to position the Riyadh season as another destination within Riyadh itself during a very hectic time of all events.
Yeah, and I guess the backdrop is it was the first season that it was managed, you know, more as a cultural heritage season. Before that, there was various sports, you know, within the season. So we needed to really establish it as a cultural brand, a heritage brand, an experience brand. And what we've seen is those softer cues, you know, around associations with heritage and culture have kind of shifted significantly, you know, over that period of time. So it's clearly done its job. There's more to do, of course, but we were very impressed with the, you know, how the associations, you know, upticked through the campaign.
I'm sure you see these results in Athar. There's a plug there.
There's a plug for Atar, which is in November, so we'll see the true outcomes for real then. And then Tony, we're talking about Saudi, we're talking about how dynamic it is there. This is a great place for TikTok to be with the young audience, the more social media savvy there. For you, this is like a dream come true?
Obviously, Saudi is one of our strongest markets right in the region, in the sense that Saudi is already a younger than comparative markets audience, but at the same time, it's also a fully engaged audience when it comes to TikTok as a platform. They haven't just been on TikTok as a platform, but they've actually been creating content, right, consuming a lot of content, and actually, positioning parts of their lives and their professional and personal lives on the platform. So they're using it as part of their day-to-day, and at the end of the day, that's what brands need to kind of tap into to be able to connect with them at a different level. And I think in the context of this campaign, going back to the results were not only impressive when it comes to reaching all of the audience, right? Obviously, we know that you're capable of reaching all of Riyadh, but beyond that, the engagement that we saw when it comes to using, for example, the CapCut template, around 15,000 videos were created, and then beyond that, the sentiment, right? That's the end objective, uplifting the sentiment by more than 200% potentially, right? So that's what you're trying to get in the end of the day, because these are the pain points that as a brand you're trying to achieve, and this is what Diraiya cracked when it came to this campaign.
Did you say 50,000?
50,000 templates.
Wow, that's a huge number there. So just talking specifically about this campaign, can we talk about, is it going to be rolled out further? Is there going to be further development of this campaign?
For this specific, we were talking about this earlier, right? One of the things about digital maturity transformation, right? When we talk about it for just a moment, it's all about, one element of it is about innovation, how you adopt innovation and you endorse new technologies. But it doesn't mean it just stops there after one attempt. The fact that if you're able to take a new piece of technology or an idea and you're able to scale it out and have that continuous use of it, then that's success in itself, you see? So I guess watch this space on if it does come. But I think from a wider agency perspective, I definitely think it's definitely enlightened a lot of individuals certainly within our agency to actually now think you can use a different means of technology and traditional platforms to bring them together. So it doesn't mean it needs to be just specifically in Saudi. It could be across any other parts of the world, which I know the TikTok guys have been doing with maybe some of the other markets. But definitely from that perspective, I would say yes.
So that's a probably. It was so good you want to roll it out, but you're just trying to work out the best.
I think we're just trying to work out the best way, because you don't want to overdo it at the same time as well. Strategically, it works right, Warren? And I think it's just using it at the right time at the right moment. And this is what we did for this, right? It was the right time and the right moment to use it.
I think certainly as an agency group, we've got the confidence now in using these types of innovations. We know that a campaign of this nature where you're using the users to tell their story works, and that was a risk, so we've got the confidence to carry on in that vein. The question is what technological opportunities would arise that allow us to do that more again, better, more engagement, more reach. So our eyes are open to the opportunities.
And Tony, from your point of view, what did you learn from working, on this there? I know it's not one of the questions we came up with, but I just thought it popped into my head. What did you learn from TikTok and your point of view on this, from
the first thing I learned is that I again and again love to work with Nadeem, because he's been part of my life for the past 5 years. So that was the first thing I learned in this one. But beyond that, obviously, one thing I learned is that when we think of the partnerships that we build with a lot of brands, we tend to think of a lot of the basics, getting sort of things placed in the right way, and ensuring that we have proper, when you go back to paid media, right, you go back into signals, creative, and all of the different baselines. But I think one element that it opened my eyes on is that there's a lot of actually innovation that we can do together in a sense and take these partnerships to the next level. It's not really just about ad placements. In the end of the day, there's much more that we can achieve when we put our minds and hearts in the same place, and this is what we've done in this one, and what we'll try to do again, hopefully, on the next activations.
So again, looking ahead, this is a very memorable campaign for Dirius. What sort of future initiatives might we expect?
Well, we're currently planning for next season, so yeah. Again, I won't want to give too much away, but watch this space. What I will say is, Dalia as a brand, as an experience, is really leveraging technology next year as part of its season. It's a key part of the brand. Yes, it's a heritage brand, but also it's a modern brand again for the people, a modern Saudi. So we need to make sure we reflect that in our marketing as well. So. We have to leverage technology. We have to leverage new opportunities and innovations. But I think it's watch this space. Yeah.
And then also going back full circle to this innovation topic there, how will innovation drive your work forward in anything really? Going forward now, the key messages and the key lessons you learned from working on this campaign. How will you be using innovation? I think in future across your different sort of subjects.
I think from our side, it's the fact that we're not frightened of innovation. Like you mentioned, across the building, across the group now, it's just sort of manifests itself to become that. Innovation is nothing to be frightened of. And whether it's for Daria Seasons or whether it's for another client, we do have a task force that specifically will now look at innovation in itself for specific campaigns or for specific client strategic outcomes. We do have a piece of technology we use within the agency group, for example, called Futurecaster, and Futurecaster gives us like on the pulse moment to understand which technologies that are at the forefront are scalable and have been adopted. So if you look at NFT of 2 years ago, I'm sure everybody was getting every brief from every client, or every client was thinking about, I need to have an NFT something in my media or my marketing communications. Fast forward 2 years, and NFT is not. So we have this tool that allows us to be able to fast forward, future-proof ourselves to think which technological advances we want to endorse and how we want to endorse this from an innovation practice.
Warren, anything you'd like to add to that? Innovation, don't be afraid of it.
Just probably a small point from a creative agency perspective. I guess what I've seen is, creatives are becoming more confident with how to engage technology and innovation, whereas I think that's probably, they've always been a little bit more idea, down on paper, but you're starting to see that confidence growing a lot within the creative part of the organisation. And then, how we then work with other parts of the business, so media and PR and social, etc. You're seeing that kind of coming together, and technology is enabling that. So I'm just seeing a trend towards that.
I was just thinking about NFTs, because I don't think I've heard that phrase for like at least 12 months. Do you think NFTs are dead? Obviously there's that huge buzz around them. Do you think they might come back, or it's the end of NFTs as we know it?
I think Tony's bought a 5-digit NFT. So perhaps this is.
Well, I had NFTs at least, but they're no longer there. But I think that, this space is one of, obviously tied closely to the metaverse, right? And the whole boom in that conversation. And obviously it will come back at some point, right? But it's just whether the audience and the users and everyone that's adopting these types of newer technologies are ready for it or not. And I think when it boomed a couple of years ago, I don't think the audience or even the infrastructure was ready to handle what was being offered, whether it's from a security and safety perspective as well, or whether it's the audience is understanding the products that were being offered. So that's why it didn't succeed. But in the future, myself personally, and that's a personal opinion, I think it will come back.
You heard it here first. NFTs are going to make a comeback. So we've got a few minutes left, and so we will open the floor to questions. If anyone has a question, feel free to raise your hand. Already we have a hand raised over there. We don't have a mic. You can shout, or you're loud enough. Okay, great.
Am I loud now? Right. So building on what you talked and innovation within technology, I'm millennial myself, so while I consume digital, but I still appreciate the human physical experiences. So from creative point of view and digital media as well, how do you think you can reduce the solo consumption of media that a Gen Z is having today and bring a sense of community and that human element to it? And do you think the offline regular media consumption is fading away?
Good question. Who'd like to go first?
I'll take the last question. Maybe the first question you can probably take, one of you guys. But I think the offline mediums, I don't think they are fading away. I think there's a role for them to play, and this campaign actually demonstrated the efficacy of outdoor. Without outdoor, I don't think this campaign would have delivered far beyond the results that we had anticipated. You know, just beyond a personal screen, which is, you know, the mobile phone device, you have to be able to amplify that further, you know. And one, what does that do? It gives you that incremental reach factor, quite potentially, but it also gives you that enhanced frequency, you know, of individuals as well. So just because you may experience something on a digital front, how you maybe experience something that's on TV or in outdoor is another experience in itself. So bringing different mediums together can have a positive synergy effect, I would say, if that answers your last question. Yeah?
Yeah, maybe I'll add a little bit on the first one, and I think to your point, right, human element does not need to be completely split from the digital space, right, or digital media or the social platforms. In the end of the day, the most successful creatives and pieces of content include a lot of a human element, and that's what we reinforce in our conversations, right? So from a brand perspective, you need to make sure that the human element is there, whether it's through creators, whether it's through users coming into the fold in this activation, or whether through different forms, the human element will continuously play a role. But of course, you know, going forward, potentially the metaverse didn't function a couple of years ago because there was no visibility on humans playing a role in it, and users were not ready for this type of ecosystem yet. So I think yet we need to be careful in terms of, you know, how we remain physically connected as a humans, but in the end of the day, humans will need to play a role in everything that comes, whether it's, you know, technology and the humans, or whether it's playing a role in the content that we generate, or eventually kind of sort of bridging the gap between everything that we do on social or everything that we do from a physical standpoint. Not the perfect answer, but somewhere around those lines.
Okay, thanks for the question. You sure you're a millennial and not a Gen Z? You are? Okay, okay. The screen has gone red, so we're out of time. So I want to thank our guests for joining me, Nadeem, Warren, and Tony. Thank you very much for your time, joining me on stage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, coming from moderating back to emceeing. So now that concludes our event, but before we go, remember we talked about Minatech, and before we invite Ahmed Bassam, who is Head of Communications at Minatech, onto the stage, we're going to play a short film from Minatech. Anyway, I hope we are going to play a short film from Minatech. Okay, Ahmed, please come and join us, and hopefully we have some prize winners.
Right. Hello, everyone. As we approach to the conclusion of this amazing event, we would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for your valuable presence and participation today. And now it's time for the moment we've always been waiting for, the announcement of our lucky winners. starting with our third prize, which is a high-end Asus ROG keyboard. This amazing prize goes to Badi Hajjar from T-Ads. Bashir, with me? Please come to the stage to collect your prize. Can you help me to get the prize? Yes, please. Okay, welcome. All right. Moving on to our second prize, a fantastic set of gaming gear, including a Razer keyboard and SteelSeries headphones. This awesome prize goes to Hira, co-founder and CEO from Zaidu, and the SteelSeries. Yeah. Yes. Congrats. All right. And finally, our grand prize, the first place winner will receive an exclusive interview on Minatech Media portal, along with a brand new Poco F6 smartphone. This incredible prize goes to Manal Al Hassan, the senior account executive at Tajalla Agency. She's here. She's here. She's not here. خلاص. We will make sure. Yeah, we will make sure to. All right. Congratulations to all winners, and we look forward to seeing you at our future events. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be quick. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Safe travels, and see you in October for Campaign and Atar in November. Thank you.